Hi guys, it's Mark from Pond.college, your trusted resource in the UK for ponds and water features. And today's video is how to clean out a Skimmer 1000 and a 6000 BIOFALLS. Stay tuned for the Any Pond showcase. So the first job, as you can see, I've turned off the flowing water out of the BIOFALLS. So what I've actually done is I've switched the pump off by the electrical socket, and now what we can do is we can basically work out what needs to go on. Both the skimmer and the BIOFALLS is extremely dirty because we haven't cleaned these out since October. Now we're in February, so they're going to be really filthy. Normally, in a scenario like this, we would be cleaning out the filter every 4 to 6 weeks to keep on top of the waste in the pond, but in the winter, it's not too much of a problem. So the first thing you need to do is to take off the false lid. Now what we've got in here is we've got a skimmer basket, and we've got underneath Metalla pads for removing the mechanical waste. So how we clean it is we actually want to switch it off. But first of all, we want to shut the door that clips up so the pump pumps the water down, and then I'll switch the pump off. As you can see, the BIOFALLS is switched off now. Then I'll remove the basket. And as you can see, that there's quite a lot of waste in there. And I'm going to go and empty this. So that's the first job, is to basically get rid of the mechanical waste out of the skimmer basket. And as you can see, that's fairly clean now. It doesn't have to be sterile. So the next job, now I've closed this off, I'm going to go and drain down the BIOFALLS. Now if you haven't got a drain, and because we've got a brook here, I've got a 63mm pipe that comes from the bottom of the BIOFALLS into the ditch. If you didn't have a ditch, or if you haven't got a waste valve on your BIOFALLS, you would have to get buckets of water and get the water out. So what your next thing is to get the water out of the BIOFALLS. So I'm going to open up the valve for ease of maintenance. So now what will happen is the BIOFALLS will drain down. As you can see that the BIOFALLS is draining down now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the filter media, and I'm going to wash the filter media in that water that's draining down. So what we've got in here is we've got bio balls in the bags. And it's as easy as that. You just need to swill the bio balls, get rid of the waste. Then you get the pads out. So what essentially we've done is we've switched the pump off, then we've cleaned out the basket, then what we're doing is we're draining down the BIOFALLS for the first time, or removing the waste. We've cleaned the media inside the BIOFALLS, but what we're going to do also is we're going to rinse them again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the pump back on. It's designed for 6,000 US gallons, or about 22,000 litres of water, pond water. And there's the water coming up. So what you can see on the top of the water now is the filter rack. Let's turn that off to give it another rinse. So all I'm doing is I'm just shaking the stuff and agitating the waste. So as you can see, I'm just shaking the media. What we've got in this filter is we've got a rock tray As you can see, I'm not sterilising it, I'm not using the garden hose. I'm just shaking the worst of the waste off and then letting it drain outside of the pond. Removing the rocks in the rock tray. So as you can see, we've got a rock tray on here. And these are going to go, these pebbles and rocks are going to go back on the rock tray, but I'm moving this sludge. You can see this sludge, it's horrible stuff. It's a lot cleaner now. So all you're doing is you're just rinsing. You're not sterilising, you're just rinsing the sludge. This is where you see frogs and newts and stuff in the filter system. So you're just removing the bits. What you can do is you can leave these in and just use a bucket just to swill, you know, the top. But I like to be thorough because then you can leave it more between cleans. You could use a pond vacuum if you wanted to, and sometimes when I've not got a drainage port, that's what I actually use, is I use a pond vacuum to clean out the biofalls, clean it all out. But as you can see, it's particularly filthy because it's been a good amount of time between the cleanings. Let's say, for instance, you're cleaning this out every month. You just need to remove the most amount of waste. So you might not need to do this every single time. We're going to put some treatments in here later on. We're going to use multi-aqua. But you can see that that's the removable rock tray. And again, I'm just rinsing it. I'm not getting the garden hose, I'm not getting the city water on it. As you can see, I'm just removing the worst of the muck. It's a lovely day today, this is great. So I'm not sterilising it, I'm just removing the worst of the waste. And now what I like to do is get my hand down in there, or a net, and just make sure that you've got no spots that are sitting there being clogged. Be careful when you're doing this with bare hands, because if you've got any sharp areas on the plastic or the screw heads, you might cut your hand, but I've done it enough. But if you're new to it, then you've got to be careful. So there we go. So look at that. We want to create lots of waste in that biofalls. So now I'm going to open up the drain and drain all that lovely dirty water away. This dirty water is great for the garden. It's great for the compost heap. It's literally, you know, alluvium clay is the best soil you can get, and that is river deposits, which is silt and lots of stuff. I like to swirl this around, so I am giving it a real good clean, because sometimes you get little spots. I don't know if you can see here, you get little spots of waste. Doesn't really matter, but if you're going to clean it, you might as well clean it. And that's a lovely amount of coffee coloured water. I love getting rid of that waste. So you're letting this drain down now. We've rinsed everything, so we've cleaned the rock tray. So there's a few rocks and stuff that have gotten in there, so I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to remove those. This is the beauty of the 6000. You can actually get in and remove any big items, any stones. So you're essentially moving stuff like this. You can see there's a few creatures in there, which is good. So what you can actually see now down here is you've got a port on the inside there. That's where the water comes from the skimmer. And this one with the 90-degree bend is where it goes out down into the way of the brook. And I'm going to go and switch the pump back on. So as you can see now, the skimmer is going down and the biofalls is filling back up. But because the drain's open on the biofalls, this water is actually going away to waste. So as you can see that there's a lot of waste in here. Lots of waste, which is great. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the little bits of weed back into the pond. I'm going to go and switch the pump off now. You don't want the pump running dry for too long. Because we've got the door on there, it won't allow lots of water back in. So I'm going to turn the pump off now. And now I'm going to get rid of all of this glorious mechanical waste. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to sterilize this Metella pad. So it's just, what you're doing is you're removing the worst of the mechanical waste off of this pad. As you can see, that's a lot cleaner now. And all I've done is I've just shaken it in a bucket of pond water. It doesn't have to be sterile. You can, if you want to, use the garden hose on this particular Metella pad outside of the skimmer. The reason being is it's because it's mechanical filtration rather than biological filtration. But what you mustn't use is the garden hose, city water or tap water on the biological media in the waterfall box, because that's a sterilisation process. In the skimmer, it's not a problem because this is just to remove bits. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just use pond water to rinse it. As you can see, it's a lot better now. It's a lot cleaner. So I've literally got the Metella pad. I've got a bucket of water. And I'm just going to get that over there. What you'll find is if you tap it, you can get more waste out of the Metella pads. What you don't want to do is you don't want to have these mats in the sun for too long or the wind for too long. As you can see, I'm just cleaning these. Lovely. You see there's lots of shrimps and stuff in there, lots of life. You can see the top one here has got some algae and stuff on it. Let me hold it still. You can see there's lots of life in there. So you don't want to get rid of all of these, you just want to get rid of the muck. Give them a chance to eat the waste. But look at that, that is beautiful filter media. You want to keep all those shrimps alive. You want to keep all of these insects and everything. So we've got that waste, and now we're just going to get rid of that using the bucket. So I've rinsed it now. Just get rid of the last little bit. You can use sponges. You can use a dustpan if you wanted to. Just getting rid of the last little bit. Don't worry about too much about. If you imagine how much waste was in there, crazy amounts. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start to reassemble the filter. So what we've got is we've got the support tray. The support tray goes in first. Then we've got the pads. Pads go in, making sure that they're the right way round. Then you can put the rock tray back in, and what you put on the rock tray is up to you. Whether you want to disguise it, whether you want to put on rocks, it doesn't really matter. The more filter media, the better. Doesn't really matter if a few rocks falls down, and you can load this up as much as you want. What I wouldn't do is put gravel in this rock tray. The reason why I wouldn't put gravel is essentially what you put in, you must take out when you're cleaning it. The BioFalls go back on top of the pads. Then you can put some rocks on there just to stop them from lifting up. So now that's the waterfall filter done. Now we close it down so no water's going to go down the waste. Now we can reassemble the skimmer. So I'm just going to switch it on to remove that bit of water in there so we can see what's going on inside the skimmer. And if there is any more waste in there, I can remove it by hand. So we haven't cleaned this out essentially. So now I'm going to remove the pump. So this is the check valve to stop the water from coming back from the BioFalls. So we are going to get the skimmer to fill back up again because the check valve is gone. Water coming back from the BioFalls, but because there's hardly any water in the BioFalls, it's not going to come, you know, for too long. It's just that little bit. And you can clean that in. You can clean that inside the skimmer. Remove all of the bits. Let me go and grab that bucket. And the reason why I'm getting this bucket is because there's a fair amount of waste down the bottom of here, but also at the same time, we're cleaning this area out now. See, it's lovely chocolate water. And as you can see, I'm just chucking it onto the grass, the gravel, the area on the outside of the pond. It's not going back into the pond, you're just getting it out. See, it's a lot cleaner now. It doesn't want to be sterile, but it needs to be clean. Put the tray, support tray back in. That goes in underneath. So what that support tray does is it holds the Metella pad on top of that support. You can give the pump, like I say, a bit more of a clean if you wanted to. But we're going to do that in another video. And you just hook it back up. So it's very easy. Just put the dual union check valve, locate it on. It's a lot easier to do it when it's empty than when it's full of water. Just do that back up. And it's as easy as that. You've not got to worry about anything else. Just do it up hand tight. Now what you do is you put the Metella pad back in and you use the pre-cut out area to go around the dual union check valve. Easy as that. Then you put the tray back in. What you can do is you can open the door back up, let that splurge of water come in. It will equalise. And there we go. So we've cleaned it out. I'm going to go and switch it back on now, and that's going to be great. So this video has been how to clean a 1000 skimmer and a 6000 BIOFALLS. Yes, we're going to have a little bit of mucky water come through, but it's not going to be a lot. You can see the water coming slowly up there now. You can disguise all of this rock tray with more rocks, and I'll do that in a second. So what we've essentially done is we've cleaned all the waste out of there, biological and mechanical. We've not sterilised it, and within 24 hours the pond will be crystal clear. You can actually put in also some fine filter pads on top of the medium dense filter mats, just the last little bit, just to polish the water a little bit more. There we go, there comes the water. And there you go. One clean BIOFALLS and one clean skimmer. If you've got any comments, put them in the comment section below. If you've got any questions, put them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.